Jack, you seem to be on fire, though. That's a couple of quarter-final appearances in a row now for you.
Yeah, I mean, been a good finish to the year, I'd say, last year in the fall. And then, like I've stated many times, a great offseason for me. It changed it up a little bit. But, yeah, started out this year with a lot of confidence, physically, mentally, all of it. And then I think it's shown, on court so far this year.
What are some of the things you're doing differently that's making a difference?
I think it's just routines, honestly. I worked a lot in the off season on getting a specific routine that works for me, that works well for me, and just been sticking to it. Maybe in the past, a couple years ago, I'd maybe not have that specific routine or be that strict on it. Off days now, I'll do some gym work and really do good physio treatment work on the body and. Just kind of putting everything else aside and focusing on the task at hand, and I think it's paying off for sure.
Jack, what are your thoughts on playing Nishikori?
He's got a decent backhand. He's got a decent ranking. Very, very solid player, very consistent player. He's top 5 for a reason, and an established top 5, top 10 player. And I think I'm just going to have to definitely play my tennis. It's going to be my best chance to win. When we played in Shanghai and I was able to win, I was just playing very aggressive, playing big forehands and, coming forward when I could. And, just trying to keep him back, behind the baseline and, kind of trying to move him side to side. If he's moving in, stepping into balls, forehands or backhands or dictating points, then it's going to be trouble for me.
You've had success here in doubles, and you had a good run here a few years ago. How much does that help in terms of a comfort level with the conditions and the way the ball plays here?
Yeah, it helps a lot. My first few years here when I didn't do very well, I didn't really look forward to coming back to this tournament just because, result based. I didn't have the best first few matches here. So, but yeah, now that you get some matches under my belt, this is this and the U.S. Open, my favorite tournaments of the year, and I love coming back here. The home crowd's amazing. I feel like they're always into it. The energy's great. In all the stadiums I've played, in all my matches at Stadium 2 now, and the crowd's been incredible. So hopefully we can keep riding that home crowd. The American fans will be behind me on Friday, and like I said, just have to play my tennis and definitely use these courts to my advantage though. They're it's a little bit slower and higher bouncing, which should help me.
Jack, you've had 2 very tight back-to-back matches, and there's 2 philosophies, right? Of bowling through your opponent and kind of having an easy path versus really having to fight for the wins. Given your personality and kind of, you say you play your game and you're going to go out on your own terms either way. How are you feeling about those wins, and how much confidence is that giving you now?
Yeah, I'd say 3 in a row now. 4 in the third, and last night and then today. Definitely getting my money's worth on court. Getting my time on court, in and to feel comfortable out there. But whether you win 1-1 or 6 in the third last night, in an epic match, and you're still moving through. Sometimes you'd like to win 1-1 and be done in 55 minutes and move on to the next one. But the way the schedule plays out at these tournaments is nice. Like today, is a big opportunity if I get through and I have a day off tomorrow. Light practice, get some rest, and get ready for Friday after having a quick turnaround last night to today and 2 long matches. So like I said, definitely getting my time on court in, but that's a lot of reps for me and makes me that much more comfortable on the court.
This country has such a rich tennis history, and you're now the highest ranked American. How do you feel about that, and are you embracing that pressure, and how do you cope with that?
Yeah, I first realized through social media after a match, on Twitter, that I was the top American. But now that that's where I am, I definitely take pride in it for sure. If you go down the history of top ranked Americans we have in tennis, over the years, it's a pretty cool list, and be a part of it is definitely an amazing feeling. It's not something I hear it only from you guys. I never talk about it outside of media and press. But like I said, it's definitely a cool feeling. I'm gonna try to hold on to it for sure for as long as I can. There is a a nice, confidence boost from having that. But also on the flip side of that, for American tennis in general, hopefully it's not at 18, where I am now. Hopefully it's, kind of like it was back in the day, top 10, top 5, and hopefully number 1 again one day, that American tennis could be there. So I think there's a good group and cluster of us guys, coming up and, making a push. But, hopefully there'll be a lot of good battles for that top ranking and higher up in the rankings, over the next few years.
Are you a fan of the band Queens of the Stone Age? Has anyone told you you look a lot like the lead singer?
Don't know who that is, and I hope that's a compliment. I don't know.
Jack, you were saying it's taken a good player to beat you this season?
I said that?
Yeah.
All right.
So if you look at all your defeats, you can't really be too, can't hang your head too much about anything. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of staying on the path I'm on. I've had chances against a lot of them. I've had a couple close matches with Rafa and, close one with Stan in Canada. And, but I've also, I've had a handful of top 10 wins now, and, I had a lot last year. So I definitely think right there, tennis-wise, I'm right there. I think it's just, they don't lack anything mentally. They don't give up anything mentally. And I think that's where, that'll be the deal breaker for me. And those which I think I'm doing a lot better job of, so far this year. And, as you can see, last night losing the first set and today losing the first set and being, in some tight situations. But, just keep hopefully having that positive energy, which is, big for me, and keeping my head up out there and, just moving on to the next point every time. And, I think that's where I'll see those breakthrough against those top guys.
You just said you've got a rest day tomorrow. What do you do in those rest days? Is it just staying in the room? Is it lying by the pool? Is it playing a round of golf? What do you do?
No, it's coming here and practicing at noon for, I don't know, till, however long it feels, 30 minutes maybe. Like I said, I've had a lot of time on court this week, so I'm not too worried about the hitting ball side of it, but just coming out, getting a feel, having the racket in the hand for a little bit. And then just do some maintenance work on the body in the gym, shoulders and hips and stuff, just prehab and all that. And then, a good couple hours on the physio table back at the house with my trainer, and just making sure everything's feeling good, and massage, ice bath, all that, just recover it and get ready for Friday.
Last question. You know what happened with that flicking ice on the court thing? Have you ever been given a warning?
That was ridiculous, I will say.
Have you ever been given a warning for something as bizarre as that?
No, I will most definitely be appealing that at the end of the tournament if I did get fined for that, because, we're in the heat of the moment, whatever. I don't even know what the score was at that point, but I know it's tight. It's a tight score line, and, I have an ice towel around me, and the thing breaks open, and I have 50 ice cubes on me that are melting and, all over my body and on my rackets and, getting on my bag and stuff. So, I flick them off naturally. I think that anybody would do, just get them off you, and they didn't even get onto the blue part of the court. And the ref, who seems not like me very much, said, don't do that. And then I had one more on me, and I hit it. It went a little farther on the court, and they said unsportsmanlike conduct. So I'll keep it G-rated, but that was ridiculous.
Thanks, guys.
Cool.